Hello to anyone who's watching this video on the internet or listening to it. To the audio, you are watching slash listening to a game that was arranged through the Gauntlet, which is a community on the internet that gets together and plays tabletop role-playing games online. You can find all the stuff the Gauntlet does at gauntlet-rpg.com. For some reason in my browser, I just typed D on D dash gauntlet. That's not what it is. It's gauntlet dash rpg.com. There'll be a link down below in the description. You'll find all sorts of things the Gauntlet does. Blogs, forums. There's the zine that the Gauntlet puts out, which is named Codex. Usually contains, supplements to existing games or original games in itself. There's the podcast network that Gauntlet does. I'll shout out the Gauntlet podcast's latest episode, which is like a wrap up of 2020. If you want like a list of interesting and cool games to watch out for, basically the Gauntlet community is just listing out their favorite games that they played last year, and it's a good kind of like episode to listen to if you want to have a bevy of options or interesting games to try out. There's also the Gauntlet Community Open Gaming, which is like a mini con where folks outside the Gauntlet community can come together and play with us. That's on the weekend of the 25th to the 28th of February. Keep that in mind. But there's also the Gauntlet calendar, to which this game and many other games are arranged. This game in particular is called Heart, the City Beneath. It is by Grant Howitt and Christopher Taylor. Sorry, I just realized I don't think I showed. There we go. You might remember them for Spire RPG, which is a game of drow revolutionaries in this industrial fantasy hellscape city, trying to bring down the old order. Well, Heart's a bit different from that. Instead, we go down underground, where there is this horrible wound on reality that's twisted and twisted reality in certain ways down beneath this city. So Heart's a bit of a different flavor, kettle fish compared to Spire. It's definitely more horror tinge. It's more of a dungeon crawler, and it's a lot to deal with. Um, but who are these characters that are going down into the city for a variety of reasons, variety of personal callings. I mean, I do have a setup scenario at the start as to why you're all together, but everyone has their own reasons for being down here. Um, why don't we go left to right on the character keeper and just kind of like introduce yourself, your pronouns, and a quick pitch of your character. We'll learn more about them obviously as we play, since they've just been created, but just the general gist of them. So Brandon, why don't we start with yourself?
Um, Very well. Hi, I'm Brandon. My character is Liness, she, who is a cleaver, who is a hunter, a character who has been drawn to the heart because it calls to her. Specifically, it calls to her to go and kill the beasts that the heart creates as an act of worship towards the heart. It does this for a purpose, and every time that she kills one of them, she feels closer to the heart and its true calling, whatever that is. And she doesn't know what lies at the end of this quest, but it's something very important. She is human, but you could be forgiven for thinking that she was a dark elf, because some of her aspects, her eyes are black, and her skin is dark and coruscates occasionally with shiny sparkles and motes that are the appurtenances of the hunt that she has taken upon herself. She is lethal, but very philosophical um, and kind-hearted insofar as someone whose profession of his or murdering things can be.
Well, glad to have her on board. Um, Up next, Bodhi, why don't you introduce yourself and then your character?
I'm Bodhi, they them pronouns, and I'm playing Dolwyn, who is a deep apiarist who is in the heart in search of enlightenment. And unlike Liness, Dolwyn knows exactly what secrets the heart is hiding. The heart is hiding the greatest hive, the perfect golden center that I know lies beneath the beneath. And whether that's true or not remains to be seen. But Dolwyn is convinced that it is true and has taken on the path of a deep apiarist, an occultist who lets bees into their body to gain glyph marked bees to gain powers, and is in. I have gone so deep with this that my very flesh has been replaced with wax, and I can extrude things that I might need from wax, and yeah, I have lots of weird insecty bee powers.
Yeah, so in case anyone who's watching or listening to know, heart's a lot. it's a lot. Just from character classes alone. So we've got a hunter who their body changes with what they take in. We've got a person full of bees. And we have a person who has a weird relationship with death. So, Jake, why don't you introduce yourself and then your character?
Okay, so yeah, I'm Jake. Use he, him pronouns, and my character is Nekravit, also he, him, who is a gnoll, hyena sort of a person, who is also seeking enlightenment, although through very different methods. Nekra has, in line with the gnoll's obsession with creating eldritch devices, largely demon powered, has created a device to cheat death. Technically it worked insofar as Nekra has come back from death, but death followed him and is a frustratingly persistent presence in Nekra's life. So he is seeking a way to perfect his device and crack the secrets of beating death, which he feels fairly sure will be held somewhere within the heart.
Could be. We'll see.
I mean, it's as good a place as any.
Yeah. Okay. I should have introduced myself. My name's Leandro. Hi. I use he and pronouns. I'm running this game. Before we jump into play, I do want to talk about certain safety tools that we're using. First off, we already talked about it off screen, but we went through our lines and veils. Lines are things that like won't be crossed, just won't show up in a fiction. Veils are things that can happen in fiction, but we're not gonna like concentrate on it. Like it happens off screen, or he gets like a sentence or two. It still happens, but it's not something that we're gonna like shine the camera on. We're also using script change for our other safety tools. Basically, it's a series of like commands that kind of like that help us like modulate the fiction closely. And they're like they comes in like commands of like remote. Sorry, I'm looking around to see where the remote to the TV is. Oh, there it is. But they're like three commands that are kind of like from script change we're gonna like focus on. First, there is rewind. When you call for rewind, basically for any reason whatsoever, it could be any reason. Basically, we're gonna rewind from a moment and then figure out what issue led to the rewind, and we'll try to like work around that issue. And it could be any issue. It could be like a name of a character. It could be like the general tone of a scene, or even just like the premise of a scene itself. You don't have to explain what your issue is. I might ask some questions on what we're trying to avoid. But if you call for rewind, we'll respect that. We'll rewind and try something else. There's also fast forward, which is the basically if you call for a fast forward, basically we're gonna like fade to black to advance time as needed to avoid content or elements of play. Like say it's kind of like part of the veils thing, but like if we know X is going to happen, we can just like fast forward. We don't need to linger on it. And then there's pause, which I can call for pause for a variety of reasons. Say if you need a break from an intense scene, if you want some clarity or discussion about the game or content, like say, because role-playing games take quite a bit of cognitive load. You can blink and suddenly, wait, why are we fighting this train made out of spiders as we are careening down this waterfall of gruel? How did this happen? Call for pause and we'll get some clarity. And also you can call for pause if you need like a break. It's part of like an open door policy we have here in the Gauntlet, where if you need to step away from the table for any reason, and it could be any reason, it could be like there's an emergency you need to take care of, you're more tired than you thought, or you're feeling sick and you need to like just step away for the day, or if you just need a bio break for any reason, we'll try to accommodate yourself. We'll pause the game and figure things out, and it could be at any time. Don't worry about like ruining story flow or whatever. The most important thing is folks' safety and comfort. Okay. Well, in character, probably not gonna get much safety or comfort in heart. So, but out of character, we'll try to make sure everyone's having a good time. Okay. So I think we are gonna open on the edge of Spire and Heart, down, which is basically tier 0. Down at the slums of Spire, what's called derelictus, there are certain houses on places where basements are kind of like used as points to enter into Heart. So in this like dank drow basement is waiting this drow. They look like a noble person, I'd say. They look like they shouldn't be going down to Heart. They probably shouldn't, but that's why they've hired the 3 of you. They've got like a really poofy shirt. It's disgustingly poofy. They've got like frizzled kind of like red hair. They've got a backpack, and they have what looks like an old rotary phone kind of like attached to like their hip. And there's some there's some lit like lanterns in this like room in the dark, but the main thing is like there's like this hole gouged in the middle of the basement, and I think like they're just looking at the hole with trepidation, and then they'll turn around and kind of like behold you 3. I think I kind of want to know, we'll go right to left this time, the character keeper. Can you give us like a quick like description of what your character looks like and like their demeanor as like your employer is looking upon you?
Necra is a furtive and somewhat paranoid looking creature, even in this relatively safe environment of this pre-delve basement, looking furtively around, nervously, less like he's scanning for danger, almost more like someone might be trying to read his secrets. And he is a hyena-headed gnoll, dressed in sort of tatty, relatively unkempt robes, and with sort of various clinking cogs and gears and strange rusted pieces of metal hanging about him. Some may be charms, some may be useful parts for machinery. It's hard to tell which is which.
Dolwyn is looks honestly far too slight and far too kind of not nearly muscled or strong enough to be an explorer in the heart, and have almost looks like they might blow away on a slight breeze, kind of very kind of papery, very rustly, and whenever they're around, particularly when they're speaking, when their mouth open, you can just hear a faint buzzing, just wherever, and occasionally a bee will just kind of crawl out of Dolwyn's ear or mouth, and Dolwyn doesn't look embarrassed about this, but tries to keep it relatively kind of discreet when around people not from the heart. At the moment, they'll be kind of gently kind of shooing the bee away behind them, or but that's a courtesy for people who might not be used to such things.
Yeah, the drow noble person is like has this look of confusion looking at Necra and then Dolwyn, and then their eyes fall on Linnes. How's Linnes doing?
When Linnes isn't talking or moving, it is easy to forget that she is there, as she just seems to blend into the landscape, which can be very startling when she does say something. She has a gaze as deep as a well, and she regards him in a very calm and question, as if to say, the world will hold still until you say what it is that you want.
I think there's a moment where like the drow noble person kind of peers through the murk, just like, oh wait, no, there she is, and they kind of like nod as if like, yeah, I did a good job. Right, you all look very experienced with nods to the big hole on the ground. I hope you'll take me to where I need to be, although, to be honest, I'm not quite sure where it is. I think they look they look like full of trepidation. But I think I'll tell you right now, you all know why you've been brought here. I'm not gonna have them exposit. Basically, this drow noble person, whose name is Asher Malperdy, has kind of like hired the three of you, along with some extra muscle if they make it to the next haven, to escort them into the heart, because their sister is missing. Their sister.
They are much more desirous of getting their sister out than of going in themselves.
Yes. They're worried because, and I think like they'll kind of like they've explained, or at least the job, whatever job what job described. Basically, they're concerned that their sister was like led down into the heart by what's called a witch. And there was this person that Asher's sister, whose name is Iona, had been talking to for the past couple of weeks. Apparently, this beguiling stranger, and then suddenly, the family wakes up to find that Iona has absconded with quite a number of treasured heirlooms from from the Malperdy house, rare books, tomes of knowledge, all sorts of things, and she's absconded down below. and Asher is worried that like Iona and this person who Asher believes is a witch in the capital W sense, has ensorcelled Iona and brought her down to the heart. And so Asher like looks at the three of you and it's just, you all look very experienced. I hope to make this journey quick. Unlike yourselves, I'm not used to. I've heard stories of what's down there. Looks at the bees that pops out of Tone every now and then. But I have little to no experience with what goes on down there. I hope that you will provide the experience that I lack. Shall we get going?
Of course. Can you describe your sister?
Yes, we are same height. In fact, we're twins, except she keeps her hair quite long, distractingly so, to be honest. Um, I'm sure she keeps her hair long to spite me, to be honest. They say that with like a bit of a sad chuckle, as if like, oh, I miss her and her long hair. But we should get going. Like I said, long hair looks quite like myself. Just a reminder, Asher is like a drow, so they have like really dark, like purple to black kind of like skin, as drow are. And then they look to like the three of you, look to the hole, and kind of like doesn't want to ask like who's leading, who's in front. They don't want to be in front.
I'll go first.
Okay. And then kind of realizes they have to like stick near the person with the bees and big gnoll with all the tinkly noises. Okay. So I'm going to describe basically what they're going to do is going to go into a delve. We are traveling from tier 0 to tier 1. So delves are like, they're like mini adventures that kind of like connect you from one place to another. The difference with delves and landmarks, which is where you're going, is like landmarks are fixed. Delves are like their own weird adventure. And they could be all sorts of things. It's not just going into tunnels. Basically, anything that constitutes a journey is a delve. So here's kind of like what awaits you when you go down into this hole. It's kind of like sloped down. There's like a moment where you're just going down this like rather cleanly carved tunnel. It's like the walls are like cleanly cut. It's not like something threw their way through it. It's like a drill went through here on this hole. And when you kind of emerge, you end up in like this like metallic like platform. And you can see there's like what looks like a sloping kind of like incline leading further down. And you're surrounded by this like large, again, rather cleanly cut tunnel that is like pulsing with like lights and kind of like energy, and it's pulsing in a way like like in time to like something breathing, so to speak. Asher looks at all this and breath kind of like
I put a reassuring hand on Asher's shoulder and say, "You cannot possibly be prepared or even anticipate what the heart may hold for you, so just be ready for that and you'll be fine."
Besides, the heart is with us. Then as long as we adapt to it, it will not turn against us.
I just say, mutter to myself that if he's freaked out by this, then 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 we better get this done quickly, or we're going to have a breakdown on our hands. And I'm trying to make this
You might
try
do
to
what
make
you
this
can.
quiet, but he might.
Yeah. Yes, you might do what you can to calm him when you have the opportunity.
Okay.
I find bees calming myself, but he may not.
Yes, yours seems to be an all too rare liking for these wonderful creatures.
Wouldn't object to them if they didn't buzz so suspiciously close to me.
Just open my mouth at that and kind of let a few bees out.
Yeah, they'll just they'll just keep shut. Okay, so just describe how delves like work mechanically. Delves have a resistance, which is like a number basically, and whatever you do to like get through the delve, which usually involves the delve skill, which is like traversing through this like I guess this incline and this pulsing breathing tunnel. You will then roll either D4 or if you have a relevant delve tool to inflict a resistance on it. And once you can like once you reduce the resistance to 0, you've made it through the delve. And it could be like anything that's happening here to get through.
So it's
like
kind of a traversal.
Yes. Yeah. So I do want like at least one of you to like start off, at least lead the way, and then because I've written some fun complications, it'll be fine.
I'm happy to do that.
Okay, what does this look like? How does Linus take point?
She glides to the front, and she puts out one hand and feels the pulsating rhythm, and closes her eyes for a moment in order to get the feel of the heart's condition at this time. And then she she will glide forward. Anybody with a light source, she waves back a little bit. She says, I do better. I can see better without it.
Yeah, Asher was about to pull out a big ass lantern, and then like, okay.
Keep a light if you must to see where you place your feet, but keep it small and low until you have need for something more. Things can see us as well as we them, and I find a great comfort in the dark. So the dark is warmth and safety. It's not only obscuration. And so she moves forward until she is all but lost. Those of you who have a careful eye for her can still pick out her form by tiny motes of light and perhaps an occasional bee.
Love to have an occasional bee. God.
Well, it says insects like her, so I figured that she sometimes has a bee or two of Darwins that are crawling over her for just because she smells good or whatever. Whatever their motivation is.
Okay, so here's how a roll works. We're going to create a pool of D10s. They're in the drive folder that I sent. There's like a how to play PDF.
See that?
Yeah, so the rules in brief should be there as well, but I'll just run it through for anyone who might be watching or listening. So you start with 1d10 for luck. If you have a relevant skill, that's another d10. If you have a relevant domain, that's another d10. This is definitely a delve cursed. This is a cursed tunnel because the walls are pulsing. The weird thing is like the incline that you're going down is metallic. It's definitely man-made, but the walls itself are like pulsing and breathing. You're in a cursed place.
Good.
So that's a 3d10. And you're gonna want to roll a 6 or higher because that's a success. And then and we take the highest die out of the 3d10. I put a link to the dice roller, but if you have any,
Yes, I have the dice roller.
hell yeah,
Got it.
Cool. Trying out the different version. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so I'll just roll the 3d10.
Oh, you got 2 10s.
I maxed it out.
Wow, that worked really well. Okay, so on a Jesus Christ, I forget every time I run Spire or Heart, everyone rolls great. No, if I run any game, as Brandon knows, everyone just rolls great. Okay, so on a 10, you will succeed dramatically, and you're going to increase outgoing stress die by 1 step. So what that means is, because on a default, on a delve, you're going to roll a d4 against the stress of the delve, but you're going to roll a d6 instead. So roll me a d6, and that's how much stress you're going to inflict on this delve and how much further you'll like get along. All right, Inspire, you get something else if you roll 2 10s, but not in Heart. Oh, what'd you got?
Only a 2.
Oh no! Well, it's still pretty good. It's I know, on a d6. I know. Okay, so I think
Well, I'm saving. I have a delve tool, but it's a 1-shot, so I was saving it.
Okay. Oh yeah. 1-shot means that like it doesn't get used up, but it's used up for the situation.
Yes.
Basically. Okay.
It says once per delve.
Yes.
So per delve meaning that's the whole thing, right? That's not not an individual attempt to delve.
Yes, the whole thing.
Okay.
Right. So I think Linus, you're ahead as you're kind of gliding through. I think you hear shouting like ahead of you. I would say like the incline isn't like steep, so you're not gonna slide. It's like just a gentle curve downwards. But then you hear shouting and you hear gunfire ahead of you. I think everyone will start hearing this because as you get closer, gunfire, shouting, and then you hear this horrible kind of like snuffling cry. It's like, what if a bat had a lot of phlegm, kind of like screeching.
Sounds fun. I am incredibly desirous of finding out what is making this sound.
Okay. Asher is not. They have kind of like, they're fumbling because all they've got is like a pistol on them. That's what they're
yes,
fumbling
but right now, whatever it is, there is being fought by somebody else. So this is the perfect time to encounter it, rather than after the combat may have been resolved and
okay.
And it may no longer have a distraction.
Wow. Okay. I want to know, how is Necron and Tolwyn when they hear that? What's like their immediate kind of like reaction? There's a kerfuffle in the distance.
Necra is immediately going to pull the long rifle off his back, and sort of hold it steady, feel the unseen presence of death just gently correct his grip on the gun, and give Asher a friendly wink of encouragement.
You can pull out their gun. You can see that Asher has hideous trigger control, or in terms of safety, and they're just trying to figure out their gun. Dolwyn, what about you? How are you? How are you feeling?
My immediate reaction is to raise up my hand and just release a nimbus of bees that kind of flies around both me and Asher. And it's clear that I'm intending this as something reassuring and protective, but I'm not sure that it reassures Asher. And then as I see Asher fumbling with his gun, I just kind of like gently move across and say kind of, I think he's got his finger on the trigger and he's kind of waving it around, sweeping people with the muzzle. So I just gently kind of move his finger onto from the trigger and kind of say something like, "Be careful with that thing, okay?"
They've moved. Yeah, he's moved still because there's a lot of bees around him now. So he's a bit still. I think the tunnel around you pulses with a bit of light. Like like you're breathing, and you can see now. I think Linus, you're closer, so you can see there is like what looks like it looks like a wagon. But it looks like it's mostly made out of metal. Doesn't look like it's driven by like any there's no pack animal. It looks like a wagon of metal and steam and whatnot, but it's kind of like upturned. There are like chests and like books strewn everywhere. You can see the wagon is like upturned, and there are like three people using it for like cover. One of them has got like a rifle. There's three humans, I should specify. One of them is holding a rifle. The other one is like they look like they've got quite a bit of a gash on their like shoulder, and the other one's trying to like mend them. And you can hear on the other side of the wagon is that phlegmy kind of screeching. And the human who's like wounded sees like you approaching and just says, get down. There's this big bloody bat on the other side. You better take cover. And like you and just to punctuate that, this glob of phlegm kind of like gets flung over the wagon and kind of like lands in between them and you. And you can see that like it's this red viscous liquid that is like a blob, and it's like it looks like it's like munching. It's very slowly munching through the incline that you're at.
I don't I don't desire to give that thing too many shots I can't reply to. So I'm going to move to where I can see it.
Yeah. I think there's like
and yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say like there's like enough space you can like scoot around to like take aim at it. Because there's a lot. It looks like the wagon was piled with a lot of stuff, like mostly books and broken like instruments. But yeah, if you scoot around, you'll see. Yeah, it's like so it's like what if a bat grew like a wolfish lower form and it's like as big as a cow.
Nice.
It's crawling on the ground, and it's like looking at you with these solid red eyes, and it's kind of like dribbling like phlegm. And then you can see like hunched up, it's got this like wolfish form, almost like just sprouted out of the upper half. I should check we did not check body horror, so in lights and veils. Sorry if it's gonna happen. Okay, all right. So I want to know what. Yeah, so Lynette's is gonna do a thing, and then I want to know what sorry, names. Anything. Dolwyn and Necra are gonna do. For those who might be watching, and also just to remind players, I'll remind you of your beats that you picked at the start. If you want to play into them, you kind of want to. You kind of
Yes.
want to if you want to get more advances.
Yes.
Okay, since Linus is at the front, we'll start with them, and then we'll go left to right on the keeper, so to speak, to see what y'all do.
I, s- I, I smile and I say, "Look at you! Aren't you beautiful?" I and I put a bow and arrow into my enormous bow and let fly.
Hell yeah. Okay. Hold on, let me...
My extinction bow is like a compound bow, except the tips curl round and round at the two ends, and it gives it gives a sound when it's pulled, like this squeak of sinews and like the uh, the creak of I just imagine this sound like almost like a cry, a little animal's cry as it's pulled.
That's beautiful. Okay, let's build this roll. So, like I said, this you start with 1d10 for luck. This is definitely a kill
Yes.
maneuver, for sure. So you get that. You're still in the cursed domain. I should say, because of the metallic platform, this is a cursed technology domain, or place, this delve. Um, but yeah, you've got cursed. I will say this heart's blood beast, because you recognize this as a heart's blood kind of like creature.
Yes.
It comes with difficulty. Difficulty, there's like 4 tiers of difficulty. And this one is risky. What that means is I'm going to take away your highest die.
Okay.
For risky. The tier after that is difficult, or actually no, it's not difficult, but it's something else. But you take away your 2 highest die for that. So you're gonna roll 2d10. If folks have a relevant skill or domain, they can help. So basically, they're gonna add an extra d10. Anyone want to help? That means you'll be brought into the consequences of this.
Yeah, I'll help.
Can you
with
distract
my
it? Yep.
Yeah, I'll go for a distraction. As usual, I'll go for a distraction with bees. So yeah, technology domain. I think that I'm. I don't have an ability which allows me to do this. But if you're happy with it, I think I'll make a kind of a crude simulacrum of a creature out of just swarming bees. It's nothing that would kind of convince anybody if they looked at it for more than half a second, but it looks like something running past the vision of this, but it's actually just a kind of an appropriately shaped swarm of bees, and I'm trying to get the back of get this creature's flank lined up for a shot with the bow.
Beautiful. So that gives Linus an extra d10. So you have 4, and remember the highest is gonna be crossed off because this is a risky a difficulty.
Okay.
So roll me 4d10. Don't worry, that's still good.
9873. So I got
98. Yeah, 8 means a success. Not a critical success, but a success. So there is like the table. Again, it's in the how to play PDF, but just like basically 8 to 9 is a success and you take no stress. 6 to 7 is success at a cost, which means you succeed, but you take stress. 2 to 5 is a failure, which is you fail and take stress. A 1, you take double stress. But it works out for y'all. You roll an 8, so you're going to, God, this big ass bow of yours. Which let me look at the stats of this.
So I rolled the bow's stress.
Yes,
and
it's
I
a
got
D10.
a 10, right between the eyes.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Oh, thank God. This thing has some protection. So you're very close. Right between the eyes. Yeah, it smashes against it and it kind of like rears up, and then it's kind of like twitching as it's like a massive trauma has been dealt to it, and then you see that like in its like near death throes because it's still not down. It's like suddenly.
So then Linus grins with that, and it's like, aren't you amazing? It's like that would have gone straight through most creatures.
Just to add another detail, just because it seems the really horrible detail popped up in my head. Around the wound where the arrow struck, kind of like bubbling out of the blood, like more eyes are like coming out, or like opening. So there we go. That's just an extra detail. Necra, what are you doing?
Yes, tempted though Necra is to hide and wait until it all blows over. I think that beat may have to wait until later because even Necra recognizes the worth of putting something out of its misery as quickly as possible. So we'll just scuttle up to the wagon, pop round it with the rifle, and we'll attempt to just finish it off in one of its growing number of eyes.
Okay. I think no, it's still alive. It's still there's still like it's still alive. So there's got to be a roll for this. Because like there's like it basically says if there's a risk, ask for a roll. It's still alive. Just kind of crawling towards the wagon. Screeching. Holy murder. Okay, let's build that roll. So again, 1d10 for luck. You don't have kill, do you?
I do not. I have the cursed domain.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it'll just be the 2.
Uh-huh. Oh, it's still risky, so you're gonna lose your highest rolling die.
Okay. So right, let's see how this goes.
Okay. That's a 4. Okay. It's fine. We'll see. Okay. I think
So
yeah,
a 4 means to fail and take stress, right?
Yes. Here's what happens. You pop over and like because this thing is like on its like death throes, it's like extra twitchy. As soon as like you pop over, it immediately just like spits into it spits at you. And let's see, what is its damage? Let me double check. Oh, that's not great. Roll a d8 for me. Would you kindly? Necra.
Super.
Uh-huh.
Oh, 1. There we go. Oh, that's one of those good numbers, right?
No, because you get 8 stress. So
yeah.
you record 8 stress.
So
and...
do I choose which resistance it goes under? Is that right?
No, I
Oh no, you
choose
do.
that. So
Yeah.
it goes down to blood stress, blood resistance. Don't worry. Now I have to roll fallout. Let's see if you suffer fallout. So I'm gonna roll a d12.
How does that work?
I roll a d12. If I roll under your total stress, you're gonna get hit by a fallout. Don't worry, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
All right. I think I have something for this.
Yes, I know you do. You have something for this. I'm kind of rooting for you to get hit with fallout, honestly, because it's gonna be cool. All right, I'm gonna roll a physical die because it's fun. Yeah, I rolled a 7. So you're gonna get hit with major blood fallout. All right, I'm gonna hit you with a fallout, and you activate your ability. So the fallout. The nice thing with blood fallout is very simple. It's all physical stuff. You don't have to go into weird mind bending stuff. Oh yeah, it's gonna hit you in the face. Don't worry. When you get affected by fallout, you get rid of all that stress. That's one of the ways to get rid of stress. It's the most costly way of losing stress, but you do get rid of it.
I find getting punched in the face very relaxing.
Yeah. Hold on, let me double check how much. Yes. Yes, when you take major fallout, you remove all stress from all resistances. So you get rid of that, but you get hit in the face and you get the fallout blinded. You can't see or can see so little that you might as well be blind. Hopefully it's not permanent. That's what it's written down here. Don't worry. when you get to like a landmark, maybe you'll find someone who can heal you. But right now it's hit you in the face and but you have an ability
Well,
for this.
Death is Death has very much claimed me for Death Zone and is furious that something else would try and take me from it. So I think everyone else probably just hears the hideous screeching of as I see the spectral form of a sort of gnollish skeleton, I imagine, depart from my side and hurl itself bodily at the Batwolf heart's blood creature, sort of streaming through it with a force of ghostly chilling death. Sorry, so that's my death follows close ability, which involves me then my death manifests to protect me and inflicts D8 stress on whatever caused the fallout.
You're gonna kill this thing because it's
roll
down
anyway.
to but roll anyway.
All right, we'll go ahead and roll anyway.
Yeah,
just for the revenge of it all.
Yes. Boom.
Hell
Hey,
yeah.
well, there we go.
Hell yeah. I mean, if you had rolled a 1, it would have been bad because this thing has a protection of 1. That's why. That's why it wasn't a 1-hit kill, sadly. But you do it. What does this look like when your death?
So yeah, it just sort of. I think to everyone else, it's probably just a sort of faint screeching sound just on the edge of hearing, moving away from me and towards this creature, and just the eyes that are growing sort of out of it all just pop, like someone really going at some bubble wrap as the creature just kind of crosses, as the manifestation of death just passes through them one by one and out the other side, disappearing into sort of tattered veils of whiteness as far as I can see.
And the creature is dead, and it's like down on the ground. Unfortunately, Necra, you can't see any of this because your eyes are kind of fluid at the moment.
We're really going for some eye revenge.
Yeah. But I think there's a moment of pause, and like the one of the humans who's like wounded, there's like human woman who's like clad in what looks like scouting gear and armor. It's kind of like sighs as she hears like what's clearly a death cry, and the one with the rifle just raise up the rifle and go woo. And Asher, who's just pointed the gun up. They've not pointed it at anywhere. It's just, is it over?
Necro, what did that thing do to you?
Watch my back! Somebody watch my back! Somebody watch my front!
Stop it. Hold still a moment. I'm going to wash his eyes as best I can.
I clutch protectively at the talismans dangling off me.
I don't know if this needs something better than to mend blood, but I do have something that does that.
Let's see, it's ongoing fallout. So
okay,
unless you have like
I don't
have a special ability. Yeah,
I don't. So I'm simply getting as much of the crap out of his eyes as I can.
Yeah, but his eyes are kind of like wounded at the moment.
And actually, you can't see what I'm using to wash your face with, but it's warm.
Lovely.
Okay, all right.
I'm then going to dip both hands into this thing, and drink some of its blood.
Okay, all right. You're just gonna do it. Okay. Great. I think
this is the answer to one of my questions. This is how did the heart change me? It's giving me a taste for blood.
Okay, lovely.
Only of creatures that I have personally had a hand in killing.
Lovely.
And only while right. So I'm going to, and if there's anything, I'm going to carve it open while people are getting themselves together and finding their stuff, and if it has a recognizable liver, I'm going to take some pieces of that.
Okay. Mark in your equipment. heart's blood bat liver, D8 cursed. And let's see, should I give it a perishable kind of tag? No, it's a big beastie. Yeah, I think it's like that liver is gonna keep until you make use of it. At some point. Okay. I think the person who was like one of the other humans was like tending over the person who's wounded stands up. He looks like he's got like plastic like metal plastic gloves. He and then like an apron. He looks like a medic basically, and he just says, "Oh, thank goodness, you folks arrived. It's lucky you came here just in time. That thing, it was like the tunnel bled it out. We weren't expecting that, for sure.
I've never seen one. I've never seen one before. It's marvelous. I say, caressing the outside of it, but
Yeah.
very hard to kill. I am Liness, and these are my companions, Dol and Necra, our employer, Asher.
Yes, let's bloody stand make introductions, shall we? Well, I can't bloody see.
We're going to find you someone who can help you. I can't. If it's not washing and stitching, I'm afraid it's beyond my simple skill. Do you have any healing ability? I say to the people, and what are your names?
Oh yes, my name is Percival. I'm of part of a expedition company contracted to make some incursions down into the heart. Let me have a look at your friend. Meanwhile, the gun-toting female human is kind of like poking the bat with the tip of their rifle. But yeah, Percival, the medic, will look to your eyes and says,
"Oh, do you have an?" I say to her, "Do you have an interest in creatures?"
I think the female, like who whether you that woo suddenly realizes the person's talking to them and kind of like blushes a bit and it's like kind of. Suddenly they're like they're suddenly like really shy.
I offer them the a knife and say, "Here, feel free to cut."
Okay. They'll like she'll like holster her rifle.
Every one of these creatures has something to say about the heart.
Okay.
And just I can't say that I'm just learning. But they are all beautiful in their way, no matter how terrifying some of them are.
Okay. I think she'll just kind of like nod. It's just gingerly like take a knife. Meanwhile, Percival's like looking if it is okay, looking at your eyes, Necra, with like their gadget, like what looks like a steampunk kind of like eye magnifying kind of glass. Humans in Spire world are like technologically weird. That's kind of like their shtick. And Percival says, "Yeah, it looks like the corrosion is taking root. We're gonna need to take you to Grip Station. They've got some wild technologies there. Perhaps they'll be able to help."
A light metal tankard flies off the wagon and hits Percival on the head. I just go,
It's fine. He's helping. He's helping.
Oh yeah, because he
Sorry
can see your
about
death.
that.
No, it's perfectly fine. It's perfectly fine. I would be cross if I was blinded as well. Do not worry. Are any of you technologically minded? It seems we need to repair our wagon to get going. We need to bring these supplies.
I at this point look around rather guiltily because I have been surreptitiously checking out the titles of the books that have been flung from this wagon, and I
He's
would like
over in
to-
a corner reading, you know. Oh, sorry.
Well,
Did someone have a question?
I'd actually like to go further than that, which is that if there's a book amongst them that is relevant to the deeper levels of the heart, I would like to try and steal it.
Okay, I'm gonna say yes. There is a relevant book because I don't want to make you roll to see if there is. I'm just gonna say yes, there is. Part of the nice thing with heart is like it explicitly says the heart wants to give things to people. So so it just tells me, it just tells the GM, play to the beats. What's the text? Tell me, what kind of text do you find that you want from their collection?
I think I find an expedition diary that I've heard of but have never seen myself because it's quite rare and valuable. And I've been kind of keeping my eye on kind of where I could find a copy of this, and I'm kind of I've lucked out here, and kind of there's a copy just in front of me, and I can't resist the temptation just to slip it into my coat.
Okay, all right. Let's. There's a risk to this, so I'm going to make you roll to see if you get it. And I think because we're of time, that's probably going to be the final roll. You finished the delve basically, so we're going to jump into the landmark and introduce Max's character next session. But let's make this final roll. D10 for luck. This is definitely sneak. Which, if you can tell me how you justify your other skills, I'll go for it. But you're trying to steal something, so
I could potentially justify. No, I don't think I could even justify a domain. No, I think this is just
domain's fine. Domain's fine. You're in, like I said, this is a technology curse domain.
Yeah, this is a technology domain.
I get the one. Yeah.
Yes.
So I get two. One.
So you have one D10 for luck and you have another. There's no difficulty. 2D10. Let's see how you do.
Okay.
Oh my God! Wow.
You got a 9. Very
yeah.
nice.
So yeah, you get it. I think no one notices. Like the rifle lady is like gingerly cutting a piece of the heartspud bat, kind of making sure she doesn't touch the sticky phlegm. Percival.
Yeah, we're staying away from the venom sacs of that thing because we don't have any suitable container for it at all.
Yeah. Meanwhile, like Percival is like, I think that he's twigged that, like, you know, the thing that threw a tankard at him is like, you know, some Deadwalkers are a thing. So I think he'll be like, all right, okay, just and I think like Asher is far too out of their depth to notice. The other the third human is wounded and it's kind of like just making sure they're just like breathing and like keeping like still. So yeah, Dolan, you're gonna get away with it. Oh God. I'll detail what it's gonna be like a resource, I'm gonna say. Let me see. Ooh, okay. I'm gonna say that it is it's gonna be a D8. The domain is Warren because it's about expeditions, and it's gonna have a tag. The tag is Beacon, which means the resource attracts something dangerous towards its position.
Of course, like it did this time.
Yeah, who knows why this bad thing attacked the wagon? You know, who knows? Yeah.
That's why it has so many eyes. It's an avid reader.
I think
We were just minding our own business when this thing came screeching out of the tunnels in outrage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a rare
Can't
book
imagine
poster.
why.
Okay, so I think we'll leave it there because we're at time. With those that I mentioned. Last thing is like check your beats. If you've hit any of them, that means you've done them, so you can cross them out and you can choose like a new beat later. There's no way to cross it out in this sheet, so just make
We
a
just have
note.
to make a note. Yes.
Yes. And if it's a minor, I don't think any of you have crossed a major beat unless not been paying attention. But yeah, if you marked it, then that means you get a minor advance, or you get advanced depending on what the beat you get. And have a think about what you're gonna get for that. But I think we'll wrap up here. Next session, we're gonna have our fourth player, and we're gonna be in a haunt or a landmark where it's relatively safe. Maybe we can get Necra's eyesight back. Maybe. Here's hoping. Anyway, I'm gonna stop recording. But for anyone who's watched or listened to this, thank you all for doing so. If you want to check out Heart or the Gauntlet, there'll be links down below in the description. Thank you all so much.